Hello, everybody. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Shannon.
Betty White is snuggled here at our feet, and we're back for episode 104 of the Arner Adventures podcast.
We have a solo episode today. Well, solo as in it's just us. There's no guest, but we wanted to tackle an important topic that we know is going to be super important to a lot of people this time of year. It is surviving the holidays.
Ooh.
But before we get into this episode, we want to express our gratitude for you taking the time, especially during the holiday season. It's a crazy time of year to listen to us. It's sort of a time that we can also be mindful to have a gratitude practice. And so we just want to thank you for listening to us if you're watching us. However, the fact that we're in your space of time, we're really, really grateful, and we know how important that is. So if we hope that this episode can offer you something, especially in this season, and it's things that we have to be mindful of and reminding ourselves. And so we thought, hey, why don't we share it?
Why don't we?
Right?
You know what I'm saying? And if we could ask for one favor before we get on with it, it's the season of giving, y'all. Please take a moment and leave a 5-star review or rating on the platform you're listening to us on, or if you're watching this on the YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button and maybe give us a thumbs up. It means more than you know, and just goes so far in supporting our podcast.
It really does. I love how you call it the YouTube.
I had the in front of just about everything.
Yeah, it's kind of a dad way of saying things,
it is,
which is funny. Well, you are a dog dad. You're Betty White's dad.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to it. Before we do, let's also make sure that if you're not on our subscriber list, our email newsletter, you might not know this, but every Sunday we send a newsletter out. We try to always make sure that we're beneficial and not just cramming your inbox with just some dumb stuff, because we know you're getting a lot, especially during the holiday season. But wanted to let you know that we still have the candle that if you purchase, the proceeds go to mental health advocacy, the Thalassophile candle. We're going to link that down in the show notes. It's our partnership with Southern Oak Artisan. It's 100% soy, sustainable. It's the only kind of candle we can have. And Betty, with her lung issues, we're so thankful that we have something like that in our house. It's not something that's harmful to her either. And like we said, the proceeds go to mental health advocacy. So we'll link that down in the show notes. If you're looking for a last minute gift, you can go ahead and purchase that.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say everybody cozy up with a warm drink and let's get to it.
Yeah. We have some hot chai lattes going on this morning.
Sure enough.
Well, so we have just a few tips. We're just going to go ahead and get to it. Tip number 1 is, whether you are struggling this time of year, because a lot of people struggle, or whether you have some mental health issues. I will speak for myself. I definitely do. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and it is hitting hard this month. And so one of the things that I find really helpful, we were actually talking about this yesterday, we were a guest on someone else's podcast, is doing things for other people. So the tip number 1 is, if you're really struggling and you're finding yourself in a really dark place, or you're just really struggling with your emotions, sadness, if you can even just do one small gesture of kindness for someone else. Of course, if you want to volunteer, you can go to an animal shelter, you can go to a senior center. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but it's really just the small things that mean so much.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think that goes in a lot of aspects of life. And it's just, it really, we can emphasize at this time of year. And the small things add up.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
We'll get more into some of the things a little bit later, something that happened to me this week. But it can just be really small things that make really huge impacts.
Well, yeah, too. And I think the nature of this time of year and this month, you get caught up in the hustle and bustle. A lot of times you're wanting to prep for maybe travel, or you're prepping for having to go do extra shopping, buying gifts, and you're really just can get in survival mode. And at that point, it's kind of hard to think about reaching out and doing something small for somebody because you're just trying to stay afloat. Keep your head above water.
Yeah, absolutely. And because those emotions are really, there's a lot of emotions going on this time of year, and a lot of people suffer from different things. It like Jerry said, it's hard to help other people emotionally when you're not doing well emotionally. So you don't always have to. I have really learned recently how to speak up and say, I hear that you're going through something, like I get it, but I don't have it in me to be able to help you right now because I'm really struggling. And it's like Kevin Berthia said, there's only so much in my cup and it is filling me. Like it has to fill me because it's everything I have right now just to kind of scoot through. And so when other people who have been struggling with things lately, I try to give them resources. I try to give them what I know that can help them. And then I just say, okay, I'm so sorry. I have to stop. I have to pull myself away because I can feel that I'm being pulled under. And I think that people really understand that and they appreciate you saying it.
Oh yeah. Definitely. You gotta, you can only help people when you're helping yourself and keeping yourself together.
That's right. It's like the oxygen mask on the plane thing, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta put your oxygen mask on before you can help somebody else put theirs on.
That's true.
Or you're gonna pass out.
Boy, you're running around the plane putting on other people's masks. You're gonna
pass out.
You might not make it back to your seat.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
I didn't make that up. It's been in existence for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's fun. But I like that though. Okay. I hadn't really thought about it that way.
Well, the second thing, and look, this is a bummer, but it just is what it is. And I it's a bummer. You think it's going to be a bummer, and then it's actually not. So number 2 is manage your alcohol consumption.
Yeah. And I know some of you are saying, well, Shan, are you saying that I should buy my alcohol on Thursday night so on Friday I don't have to waste time at the store? I can just get right home to it. No, that's not what we mean by managing your alcohol consumption.
No.
I think we mean something totally different, right?
We mean, we just talked about this yesterday too. Don't lean on it as a crutch to get you through the season.
Yeah. And a lot of times people have that New Year's resolution, like, well, they have what they call the dry January.
The dry January.
Yeah. And so they think, well, I'll just, I don't have to worry about December because I'm doing that dry January. And, but then that can get you in a little bit of trouble, I think. And there's a certain there's a lot of parties, there's a lot of events.
There's a Claus crawl.
Yeah. That Santa Claus crawl and all that. And you might get caught up into it a little bit much.
Yeah.
Too much for you. So
we were saying yesterday how Jerry and I both do this, that if you're in a social situation, I'm pretty social. You are too. We're pretty social people. But we were saying how sometimes if we just go and have like a glass of wine or a beer or something, that it just sort of loosens you up and makes you feel more comfortable in a social situation. The issue is it doesn't just always stop there, because then you go, oh, I am really comfortable now. And this is the holidays and man, I'm just going to keep going. So yeah, it does keep. And if you are doing that thing, you go, oh, I'm going to just do whatever, sort of like the eating thing. I'm going to do whatever because I'm going to fix it next week or fix it next month or whatever.
Yeah. Can't worry about it now.
No, but I have just recently said, okay, I'm going to stop alcohol for a little bit. And I was even saying just a few days in, gosh, I feel so much better. I feel less bloated and less inflamed. So, I mean, look, we have the Claus crawl next weekend. I don't know if it's going to be where I don't have anything next weekend, but I am going to be mindful to make sure that I don't lean on it to get me through the holiday season. It's a depressant,
right.
It makes you feel good for a little bit.
That's the whole illusion. Yeah, it does make you feel good for a little bit. And it's And also, too, I think this time of year, it's sort of romanticized a little bit. You think about the eggnog and it's made to look cozy in the pictures you might see on the media with the champagne around the fireplace and stuff like that. So it's an easy time of year to kind of romanticize it. So just be careful out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, number 3. Do you want to get into that one?
I can do that. I like that word. Meh is okay. Is that how you say it? Meh. Meh.
Meh is okay.
Meh. MEH.
It's okay.
Yeah. Meh. It's okay. Yeah. Be candid about not feeling the holiday hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're
feeling what you're feeling.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's so many expectations. There's so many people, some are in our lives that just, oh my gosh, it's like the movie Elf. Like they just get so excited about the holidays and it's like all this. Blah, blah, blah. But for me, what I have seen, hey, enjoy if you enjoy the holidays, great. I'm not saying don't enjoy it. I mean, we enjoy it.
Yeah.
But we've also noticed that it's a time where you reflect on traditions, you reflect on things in the past, and well, this is always the way it was, and oh, now they're not here anymore, and it's so sad, and all of those things. And Hallmark makes it look a certain way too,
Yeah.
But I think the people who are running around and they're just like, baking cookies, singing carols, and oh my God, they're just so hyped up on sugar. I think that there's only one way after that, and it's down.
Yeah.
It's like they're only going to be disappointed because it's never that Charles Dickens, Norman Rockwell Christmas,
Yeah.
It's just never what the expectations of marketing and all of that put into it. And we're not trying to be Debbie Downers, Donnie Downers here.
No, not at all.
Just we're trying to make you understand that it's okay to just feel like, okay.
Yeah. Or your Hanukkah season might start off kind of strong, maybe days 1, 2, 3, but and I know, sometimes days 4 through 7, there can be a little bit of a drag there. No, actually, I don't know, but I'm just thinking that might be
I'm assuming it probably is.
It probably is, because especially if you start out kind of strong.
Yeah.
Then you got a lot to live up to for 9 more days if the first 3 had a kind of a bang to them.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So just just keep trudging right along, and
that's right.
Yeah, meh is okay.
Yeah. And if somebody's like, "Oh my God, why aren't you so excited? We've got all this stuff going on." Just go, "It's okay." So moving on to tip number 4, and gosh, I've been struggling with this lately, and you have too, is make sleep a priority. So look, sleep is important anytime of year. We've talked about this several times on our blog, on the podcast, about self-care and all of that. But I was actually digging into this, and during the holiday season, of course, people lack sleep for a number of reasons. Number one, there's like pressures at work or pressure from, oh my gosh, I gotta get stuff ready. Like Jerry said about traveling, and they're just stress, right? It could be the sugar, that everyone is eating more sweets. And so that sugar spikes in the middle of the night. Same thing with alcohol, because when you drink alcohol, that sugar, especially in wine or cocktails, will spike up in the middle of the night and wake you up. So the reason that this is super beneficial is that during sleep, your nervous system just sort of chills out. And it's the time that your body uses to reset. So there's no other time that you're going to have that your body is going to be working to clear out those stress hormones and give you sort of a fresh start to the day. So it's super important all times of year, but especially if you're going through a lot of stress. And what really stinks is when you're going through a lot of stress, you need sleep, but it's like the hardest time to sleep because you're struggling with stress and you can't, shut your mind down or whatever. So,
and some of us have an amped up nervous system even when we're having normal days. So when in this kind of period, then it really can get bad.
Yeah.
That's why I miss out on a lot of sleep.
Yeah. Well, mine is my mind. Like my mind just goes, and goes, and I can't shut it down. So I probably need to get into some meditation before sleep, but we do all the right things. We don't have the phone in the room. We read, we shut down the lights. It's like we have all these routines, but
But
it's just
still the mind. You got your mind on the money and the money's on your mind.
that's right. But if you look at it that you do make it a priority, you'll feel better. And I also read this study that showed that sleep helps you have more patience. Of course, it's that nervous system thing. And so I was thinking, well, gosh, if you're somebody who has to deal with, Uncle Bob who won't shut his mouth about politics at the dinner table, you'll have more patience to deal with that. Or
you do need them during those gatherings.
Or just the regular annoyances of the holidays in general. You can have more patience to deal with it, or be more willing to be like, peace out, I'm out of here. I'm leaving.
Right. Yeah.
Just get out. And that's okay too.
Sometimes, and I did it yesterday, I took a nap on Saturday, and there might be one today. This is a Sunday here. And there might be one for me again today, because on the weekends, sometimes I don't try to be intentional about it. But if I know I didn't sleep so good during the week, it's like, I got to make up that ground a little bit.
Yeah.
And make it a priority to make up that ground.
Yeah.
And let other things go and get a little rest.
Yeah. Well, you want to do number 5, the last one?
Yes, I do. It's your holiday. Make your own rules. I like that.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries is important any time of year, but as we've learned, personally, that we need a lot of reminders. I think day to day, you need reminders, because things are always coming at you day to day, and it's hard to discriminate. Yeah, I'll do that.
As important as we know boundaries are, and I feel like we talk about this nonstop, it's still my biggest struggle. And I can see it. I used to not even be able to see it, but now I see it. I'm like, and I'm so much better. Like, I cannot do that. No, I don't have it in me.
Yeah.
But it's still something that I struggle with. And there's so many high expectations during the holiday season for you to attend certain things, or, call people that you don't want to call, or stay in touch with people you didn't want to stay in touch with them. There's all these, like, I'm doing my finger quotes if you're listening to this, obligations that are just not real. And we put them on ourselves. And then, other people, of course, put them on us, but then we put them on ourselves. And the ones we put on ourselves are just more difficult because it's usually not real. Like, oh my gosh, this person's going to be mad if I don't do this. And usually they don't care.
I think that's pretty typical. Yeah. But you build up in your mind that maybe they would care. And but all you can do is sort of recognize the pattern within yourself that you tend to lean into, maybe trying to do everything for everybody. And you don't know day to day, 3 or 4 things might happen you didn't expect. And it's in that sort of arena where somebody's sort of asking you for this or that, and you just might not have the bandwidth to do it. So
especially
you gotta be careful with that.
Helping with parties and helping with all of that. Golly, this week I have coming up, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. And then I go, okay, I know I can't add anything else. So if someone starts asking me, they're going to get a real quick no.
Yeah. It can escalate too when people realize you're always the yes person.
Yeah.
And
they go to you all the time.
Yeah. And they don't mean harm by it. They just, it's a convenience, and we all look for conveniences, don't we?
Yeah. I wanted to use an example here. I am part of a party situation this week, and they're doing that. I can never remember what it's called. It's like the white elephant. Is that what it's called? I don't know. You buy like a $20 gift or something. You exchange the gifts or whatever.
Yeah. And
I said, well, I'm not doing that. And it was really, really weird for them to say, well, what do you mean? And then I remind them about our lifestyle. And it just so happens too, it's a group of people who don't need a thing. Yeah. I mean, these people could take that $20 and donate it, and it'd be a lot more beneficial than buying a bunch of crap gifts for each other. But, if you're listening to this and you're like, what? But I really like the white elephant thing. Okay. I'm using it as an example of if you don't want to do something, you say no. So then there was a question from somebody else who said, isn't that going to be awkward for you? And I said, it's not going to be awkward for me. it's going to be awkward for you, but not me.
Right.
Because I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not have done that a few years ago. I would have been like, well, I know I don't buy things. I know we don't do that, but I guess I'm going to buy a $20 gift for somebody I really don't even know. Some crap that they're going to, and now what am I going to get? I'm going to get some crap that I don't even want.
That's going to come in the front door and right out the back.
That's right. So now I've thrown $20 out the window.
Yep. Yep.
And everybody has, because nobody wants that crap.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I think it just depends on where you are and what kind of group you're in with mindsets. And I think we're probably around in a lot of areas where there's not real like progressive mindsets, where they tend to lean on more traditional things.
Yeah.
And which there's nothing wrong with that, but it is wrong when you say, well, you can't do it that way because it's always been done that way. Well, you can maybe do it another way. And you did. This is last week.
I did. I was going to say
by saying no.
Right. I heard someone else say something about, but we've always done this. So aren't you going to make sure that this happens?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. No.
That's why we're not going to make sure it happens.
Right. That's the problem. You've always done it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, the last thing we just kind of want to say, and we hope that you get it, especially with the way we talked about all of these tips, is that it's obviously things that we're experiencing and going through, but you're not alone. You know, I've listened to so many podcasts through the years about, grief and depression, and they would say that, and I would just be like, yeah, right. I mean, what, do you even get it? And just understand that we get it. And if you're like, well, okay, then I just want to email you or send you a DM and ask, do you really suffer from it? Send it, because we will respond. And we're telling you that we too experience these things. It has been a really, really hard past few months, and it leads up to the holiday season. And I wanted to say something really quick too. I have a wonderful friend who knew that it has been pretty tough lately for me. And long story short, she had arranged at my favorite coffee shop for there to be a gift card waiting for me. Now that's an edible, sustainable gift. Okay. But she told me, long story short, hey, you need to go to your coffee shop. So I walked to the coffee shop. It's right around the corner. I love the owner, and owner said, hey, you need to go look in that box. I went in there. There was a gift card. And I start crying in the coffee shop, and other people in line, when Jamie, the owner, said, you know what, I get it. It's a tough time of year, and just know that it's going to be okay. And then other people in the line started talking about how tough it is for them right now. And one person talked about work. One person talked about family. One person talked about how it's just a really sad time of year for them. So everyone is going through something, but not everyone talks about it, which is why we have this podcast, because we want to make sure we talk about it. And then number two, not everyone recognizes it yet. So they're still trying to cover it up with, the candy canes and the sugar and the lights and the alcohol and the denial, because they're not there yet. And, we're all going through something. You're not alone.
Well, nobody wants to be the guy who says the holidays suck, man. He's like, can't be that guy. You'll get some looks. But honestly, if you were that guy and said that, I know it sounds kind of funny, you'd probably have about 5 people going, yeah, man.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
And I'm not being a Scrooge, because I do like, there's a lot of things I do like still about the holidays. There's still the kid in me.
And I love,
but there is
Hallmark
there's a lot of suck too.
Yeah. I love the lights. I love our Hallmark movies. I love this time of year. I love going to see Christmas lights and Betty's eyes outside the back window.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You like anything, you gotta kind of get the balance and enjoy some of those good things that are there, but recognize too that it can, what it can be, and there's a lot of people struggling.
Yeah. Well, if you have any questions or want to dig into anything we talked about, the candle, anything we talked about with sleep routines, boundaries, there's a lot of links here that we'll have down in the show notes. And of course, DM us, email us, whatever. If you have any questions, always, I was going to say our door is always open. Our inbox and our DMs are always open.